Hello, God bless you and welcome again to my channel, The Secret Place TV. Today I want to talk to my single brothers and sisters. I have a word for us, trying to encourage us. The average single person I've met is selfish. The average single person I've met is selfish, both in the church and outside the church. The reason I say this is because most of us will have a list. We have a list of what we want in a life partner. You have a list of the kind of person you want and the qualities the person must have. You know, when you ask an average Christian guy, a brother, he's gonna tell you, I want a submissive girl, I want a girl who can cook, a homely girl who can make a good wife and a good mother, and so many other things, you know, the physical qualities. When you ask an average girl in church or outside the church, they all have lists, and some of them will tell you, I want a guy like my father. So we say I want some of them will say, I want a guy or a brother like my father or someone like my pastor. And there's nothing wrong with all that. You know, there is nothing wrong with having a list. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with having standard. It's fine, because if you don't know what you want, you'll fall for anything. But I think I have a word for us. I would say that it is selfish for you to be asking for something you don't have. Let me say it again. It is selfish for you to be asking and demanding for something you don't have. Now, you want someone who is sacrificial, who can commit to you, who is sacrificial, who can sacrifice anything for you, who will be there for you. Now the question is, are you sacrificial? You want someone who will give you attention. Do you give people attention? You want someone who cares. Do you care? You want someone who is committed to serve God, who loves God, who's dedicated to God, who loves God, and all those spiritual qualities. My question is, do you have the qualities you are looking for? That's the question. It's okay to have, you know, all the lists. You have so many lists. We all have lists. But the question is, do you have the qualities you are looking for? The time comes that you have to put your list by the side and you intentionally begin to work on yourself. I am big on preparation. I tell people, hey, you got to prepare yourself. Wedding is 2 hours, approximately 3 hours, maybe a day. But marriage is for a lifetime. And I've seen people put so much energy to this wedding. The cost of ring is causing trouble. You know, the cost. A friend of mine told me he paid $35,000 for a ring. I said, what? You paid $35,000 for a ring? I don't get it. So I just want to say this. Don't put so much energy into something that will not last. I think it's important for us to prepare ourselves for something that we are believing God for. If you are believing God for something heavy, then you got to prepare yourself for something heavy. You know, every relationship has different dimensions and weights and capacity. You know, every marriage is not equal. Every relationship is not equal. There are shallow marriages. There are marriages that don't carry weight. You know, they don't have weight in the spirit. They don't have weight in the kingdom. But if you are believing God for something that has weight, something that will shake the kingdom of darkness, the kind of relationship that will threaten the enemy, that will raise godly children and draw souls to the kingdom, the kind of relationship that will become a platform for Jesus to manifest himself on the earth, then you got to prepare yourself. Capacity differs, weight differs, and weight is a product of preparation. Capacity is a product of preparation. You know, so those lists that you have, those qualities you are believing God for, like I said, there is nothing wrong with that. It's okay for you to have your list because you want to know what you are looking for. You know, if you don't know what you want, you fall for anything. So I think it's very important for you to have standards. It's okay for you not to have non-negotiable standards. You should have non-negotiable standards. You should know what you're looking for. You should know where you're heading to. You should know your vision. You should know your values. You should know your personality, and know the kind of person that will match your personality. But what I just want to say is this: the thing you are looking for, do you have it? If you are believing God for a man who is caring, or a woman who is caring, the question is, are you caring? If you want someone who will make sacrifices for you, who will lay down their life for you, the question is, are you willing to lay down your life? You want someone who is committed. The question is, are you committed? So stop believing God for something you are not willing to develop in your own life. Stop believing God. Stop praying about something you don't have. If you don't have it, stop praying about it, because there is something I tell people: God will not give you something that you have not prepared for. Let me try to explain this. You see, if you work on yourself and you discipline yourself and you pay a price, God will not take somebody who has not prepared themselves and give to you. God is not partial. He doesn't operate that way. You understand what I'm saying? If you put in a lot of price and you prepare yourself, you discipline yourself, God will look for somebody like you and give to you. So if you are not a serious Christian, you are not committed to serve God, you just come to church to look for who to marry, God will look for someone who is like you, who just came to church to look for who to marry, who is not committed, and join the both of you together, because He doesn't want you to be fighting. So He'll give you someone like you. If you're the kind of person that lives in sin, but you still go to church, He will look for someone that lives in sin and still goes to church and give to you. If you are committed to serve God, you have a personal relationship with God, you want to serve God, you want to go to heaven, God will carefully, let me tell you something, God will carefully look for somebody who is committed to serve God and give to you. That's how it works. So this is very important, okay? Let me end this video with this. I think that death to self helps. I think that the weight, the spiritual weight and capacity you bring to your friendship and to your relationship and eventually to your marriage differs. But when you see someone who is dead to self, who is genuinely dead to self, who has laid down his life at the altar, who is willing to make sacrifices, the person brings a different vibe around you. When you meet a person like that, the person carries a different atmosphere. There's an atmosphere about the person. It's a different vibe, it's a different weight, it's a different tone and texture in the spirit when you come around someone who has been broken in the presence of God, who has laid down his or her life at the altar, who is all there to make sacrifices. Now, when you are the kind of person who is willing to make sacrifices and commitment, and you meet someone who is like you, I'm telling you, that is a beautiful experience. So I think that I want to tell single people, this is a message for every one of us. Be careful what you pray about. Whatever you are praying about, I want you to step back and ask yourself, do I have what I'm praying about? Do I have this quality? I want someone that is patient. Am I patient? I want someone that can cook. Can I cook? I want someone who can keep the house clean. Am I keeping my own house clean at the moment? I want someone who shows respect. Do I show respect? I want someone who goes to church, who is committed genuinely to serve God. Am I committed to serve God genuinely? Stop asking God for something you're not willing to have and develop in your own life. Is important. Work on yourself. Take your time and work on your. I'm telling you, the kind of person you attract when you work on yourself is different. Let me say it again. The quality of people you attract around you when you take your time and you work on yourself, the kind of person you attract will be different. Sometimes you will look back and you begin to wonder, how in the world did I date that guy? How in the world did I date that girl? You begin to wonder, how did I get into that kind of relationship? It's because you didn't work on yourself. You were not prepared. But when you take your time and work on yourself and read books and go for counseling and spend time at the feet of Jesus and allow God to break you and allow God to shine his lights at the dark places of your life and expose your weakness so you can work on them, you bring a different weight and a different capacity to the relationship, so that your atmosphere is different. I've seen some people who say there must be argument in a relationship. There must be fight. If there is no fight, then it's not going to work. And I begin to wonder, if Jesus was to be in a relationship, is he going to be fighting? Is he going to be fighting and quarreling and arguing? No. The Bible said something in the book of Isaiah, I think 30 verse 15. The Bible said, in quietness and confidence shall be your strength. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. So the Bible talked about the ornament of meekness. You got to understand this. If you're a child of God who has a relationship with God, who is dead to self, who spends time at the altar, the secret place with Jesus Christ, the kind of texture you bring around people is different. You bring that to your relationships. You bring that to your friendship. When people come around you, they sense calmness. They sense that quietness of spirit. They sense that flexibility of spirit. You are agreeable. And when you see something that doesn't work, it's easy for you to dictate it. It's easy for you to see red flags when you are in tune with God. When you are in tune with God, it's easy for you to see red flags. So the final and the last thing I want to tell you is this. When you see a red flag, don't ignore it. Some of you, when you see a red flag, you think, oh, it's part of the process. Maybe I have to work on it. No, when you see a red flag, you got to step back. I have some friends who are married who are no longer married, and I ask questions. Some of them are some people I've met are in a bad marriage, and when I meet someone who is in a bad marriage or someone who is divorced, I ask questions. I ask a lot of questions. Whether you failed in your marriage or you are going through crisis in your marriage, I want to ask you a question because I have something to learn. And most of times, the question I ask them is this: did you see a sign before the wedding day? That's the question I ask. Was there a sign before the wedding day? I can tell you 99% of the time, almost every one of them said to me, there was a sign. There was a red flag. I ignored it. I remember a friend who told me that the husband physically abused her a night to the wedding. Physically abused her. And I'm like, why didn't you cancel the wedding? Physically abused you? Like hit you a night to your wedding? I'm like, you should have canceled the wedding. She said no, because the families were invited already from all over the world. Friends came, people are waiting. She's divorced as I'm talking to you, with 3 children. When you see a red flag, don't ignore it. When you see a red flag, don't ignore it. When you see a red flag, don't ignore it. Don't feel like, oh, let's pray about. I don't pray about red flags. I don't pray about it. No, there's no prayer about it. If I see it and I recognize it and I identify it, I'm not gonna put my head into that. So this is a word for every one of us. I hope this word is gonna help you. Whatever you are asking God, take your time. Work on yourself first. Work on yourself. A time came in my life, I withdrew myself and I went indoor and I worked on myself. It was hard. I worked on myself. And God revealed some things to me. I read some books and I have mentors who talk to me. They can have mentors. The kind of mentors I have, oh Lord Jesus, these are people that can tell me, hey, do this, don't do this. Like when my mentors talk to me, they don't give me advice, they give me instructions. Like they are ordering me, do this, don't do this, okay, stop that. And I listen because I give them permission to guide me. You will need mentors. You need to read books. You need to listen to messages. Go to YouTube. Your phone is there for a reason. Listen to the word of God. Listen to teachings. Go close to married people and ask questions. Don't ever think that it's gonna work on its own. You have work to do, starting with yourself, and stop praying about something you don't have. Work on yourself, then pray about it, because you will attract who you are. Let me say it again. You will attract who you are. So whoever you are, that's the kind of person you will attract. God bless you. My name is Emmanuel.